What's going on, everybody? This is our weekly update. Thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this every week as we try and give you a quick synopsis of what's happened at council, in and around the city, and in the community. The first thing we want to talk about this week is the cycling infrastructure. Our Aquitaine pilot project is underway, and one of the things that we put out this week was a survey. And in the survey, we want to hear from you, and we have some of the feedback that is helping us to shape and to form what this is going to look like in its final form. So check out some of the feedback on the pros and cons of the Aquitaine pilot project. Pros. Perhaps you could create some riding events and demonstrate how people would use the bike paths more thoughtfully. It takes a long time to change people's attitudes, so let's get this going and have cyclists riding all over, adults and children, to school, work, and on errands. I like it. It slows speeders down, it makes me feel safer driving, and my boys can safely walk and bike safely during the warmer weather months. Meadowville's bike system is unique and core to our community. The bike lanes and the multi-use trails connects the pass system to Meadowville GO Station. The more connected we are, the more further we'll go. I see what you did there. Here are the cons. The entire project was not advertised, communicated very well. I stay up to date with my community and I was not aware of this pilot. Cyclists are using the sidewalk. The bollards are a distraction. It's more dangerous walking now because there's road rage. Cars are trying to get through. I think there is far too much traffic to accommodate one or two bike lanes. This is a waste of taxpayer dollars. There's lots of feedback on this, and we have had quite a few responses. I'll give you the details here. 236 people responded, and there's over 178 comments. So we're gonna put this all together. We've given it to our staff, and all this is coming together. So thank you so much for providing your feedback. Once this is all put together, we have our community meetings. All these pieces will be put in place so that we can do this right in our community. The second thing I want to bring up today is the announcement of all-day two-way GO that will be coming to the Milton line. It was mentioned this week that the federal government and the Ontario government is calling on the federal government to agree to a framework where they would split the cost for this project. This has been something that has been in the works for a very long time. I don't even know who could take the credit for it because so many orders of government and generations have been asking for this. But now it's here and the steps are in place. So let me read some of the talking points based on what they're saying about how this can transpire. By 2031, the province will introduce two-way all-day GO service every 15 minutes in key corridors in the Golden Horseshoe. By 2031, the government will be introducing all-day two-way GO on multi-lines throughout the Golden Horseshoe. Now, when you tie that into the One Fare program that they rolled out this week, and then also the current announcement around the LRT loop that's coming up in the downtown city center of Mississauga, all of these pieces tied together to better infrastructure, pointing to not just more homes being built in those major transitway areas, but also more importing of jobs into different areas like the Meadowville Business Park. So this is exciting news, and stay tuned. I'm the type of person that wants to see this get a little further down the road before I start to celebrate, but this is a good step in the right direction. We celebrated Lunar New Year at the Pho Quang Temple, the Buddhist temple here in Meadowville. Fantastic opportunity to sit down, have some tea, and to also just enjoy all the rich cultures that are in our community. There was hundreds of people there, and East Asian, South Asian, black, white, everyone coming to celebrate the Lunar New Year and to come for this festival. So fantastic time. Thank you to everyone who joined us at the temple for that. The African drumming event that they have at the Meadowville Community Center and Library is happening today as well. You're probably going to watch this after the fact, and I'll throw in some clips maybe from it because I'm going to it right after this. And it is a great opportunity to introduce your families, to African drumming and the rich culture that is happening in our community. So part of the Black History Month events for this area, check that out, and please stay tuned to the City Mississauga's website to see all the things that are happening for our Black History Month. But we also want to hear from you. Who are those leaders in our community that we want to celebrate? There are leaders within youth, business, education, health services, arts and culture, sports, hospitality, food services, and legacy or lifetime achievements. If you have anyone in the Black community that you want to recommend for us to celebrate and acknowledge at the event, please send us information at ward9.ca and we can point you in the right direction. And at the Town Hall, City Hall on February 23rd at 7 p.m., we will celebrating in person all the amazing people in our community. So please stay tuned for that. All right, thank you for joining us this week. We have had such a crazy, busy week with some amazing events between Black History Month, Lunar New Year, and just the community being as vibrant as it is. I want to thank you for being a part of our surveys. Your feedback matters. We want to do this well, and we depend on your eyes and ears to help us to do that. So thank you so much. Continue to follow what's happening at ward9.ca. Get on to the newsletter, tell your friends, tell your family, and have a great weekend. All right, this is part 2 of our weekly update. That which I put in last week, I didn't get a chance to post it due to how busy the week was, but let's get you up to speed with what's happened this week as well. Council on Wednesday was an interesting one as we brought forth a notice of motion via Councillor Demurla, and it had to do with supporting our business improvement areas. The notice of motion was specifying that the Economic Development Office look at retail and come up with strategies to ensure that we still have retail in all of the businesses and development that's going to be happening in the upcoming years. I heard it from you all in Ward 9 when we started to talk about smart centers and that mixed use proposal, how you were saying we don't just need affordable housing, we need affordable shopping. And that really resonated with me. And I'll give you an example of why this came to council. In Matt Mahoney's ward, Councillor Mahoney's in Ward 8, they have a shopping plaza on College Way where Jeannie's Bakery used to be. People used to walk in there and enjoy the walk-up traffic of getting their fresh hard-dough bread, and the community and in general, but the Jamaican community, the Caribbean community really appreciated that. When the new development came in, they had to really fight to get some retail in there. And then even then, it's not serving the community in the way it was before. So now Jeannie's is over on Odyssey, I believe it is. And they have a great spot and great food there still, but the walk-up traffic and serving the community is the element that's lost. So this motion brings us back to focusing on how do we ensure that we have retail, because we're not going to see too many retail plazas being built anymore. So when there's residential and retail mixes, let's make sure that the retail is a part of it. So that was the motion that came to on Wednesday. This is what I consider an advocacy week. The meetings that I had this week were with My Way, with the new, one of the new part of the leadership there in Eve Wiggins. We had Metrolinx, Let's Go, regarding the Meadowvale GO station and Liscar GO. And lastly was smart centers. So here's the advocacy piece, people, as you want to hear what's happening in Ward 9. My Way is interesting. We started to talk about the importance of bus transit, supporting the number of people who use the Meadowvale terminal specifically. Did you know that 14 different routes run out of Meadowvale terminal every day? That is the second most in the whole city apart from Square One. So gives you a snapshot of how busy that terminal is. We are still waiting for stats on ridership. There is an increase in ridership on weekends, but overall, I want to get a snapshot of how busy it actually is. Not just the number of routes, but how many hours is in use and what the needs and the demands are so we can better serve our community. The piece that I was fighting for was, what does that terminal look like? So in the comment section, please provide your input on what do you think of the Meadowvale Town Center terminal? What can make it better? What can improve that experience for people who depend on transit? I love using transit. I use it whenever I can. But one of the things that is so important is to recognize is that there's a difference between people who ride transit and people who rely on transit. How do we make it more enjoyable and pleasant for those who rely on it? The second part of that is how do we make it more attractive to people like me that can drive but realize that it's the fastest way to get to Kipling or to Square One at certain times of day, so we can beat traffic and make it more attractive by doing this right. We've heard how Premier Ford has announced that all-day two-way go is coming to the Milton line, so that will service in our area Lisgar and Meadowvale, and then move on to Streetsville and Arundel. That process will take some time, and I'm trying to stay level-headed about it, and I'm not shouting from the mountaintops that all-day two-way go is coming. I want to continue our advocacy to ensure that this is from start to finish completed. I'll believe it when I cut the ribbon. That's the way that I am. So let's continue to fight for this, continue to work with Metrolinx and the provincial government. I know that Minister Tangri is also advocating very strongly for us. So we have people in our corner to ensure that these things are taken care of. And that was my first time speaking with someone from Metrolinx about the loss of the GO bus going straight to Union Station. That was my first time talking to someone from Metrolinx about the whole issue of the bus changes in Union. So I was very strong in advocating for our community and talking about the impact that that had. So stay tuned for more on those developments, and we will keep you in the loop with that. The third thing that we fought for and advocated for this week was understanding the Costco that is coming to the Rona location. So it's going to be a Costco business center, so not the main commercial store, but the one focusing on business. And we've been talking about how do we support that community. All the feedback that came back was saying that that is a parking lot desert. Are there ways to get some community activations in that space? So we talked about the Costco, but then we also talked about using one of the pads in that parking lot and making that a place for engagement. You'll see that there's just one lonely bench in the middle of that field. I guess that's the engagement that we have right now. Let's do more. There's more that can be done there. We're working on some partnerships and figuring that out. I want to encourage all of you to go onto our website. If you haven't been on ward9.ca, you'll see as soon as you hit it, it's going to ask you to subscribe to the newsletter. That also is a place where you'll see the survey that we're doing, updates on events like the Black History Month that's happening on the 23rd, Coldest Night of the Year is happening on the 24th, and everything else in between. We need you to be part of this newsletter and be part of the conversation so that we can make this the best place to live, and so you can always be engaged in all the things that are happening in our community. That's about it for this week. It wasn't a super busy week. Thank you so much to the Fogong Temple for our New Year's Eve event, Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year event that happened, and to all the different events that are happening for Black History Month. It's been a fabulous month, and there's still so many things that are happening, so get on to ward9.ca. The African drumming event as well was super fun at the Meadowvale Library. I got a chance to go to Caledon as a regional counselor to support my friends in Caledon on the opening of their Humber River Center, a shared space similar to the Small Arms building here, where you can have artisans and small business supports. Fantastic stuff that's happening all throughout the region. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining us for this double edition. Have a great day.